1:57. We're going to be going to break in about 2 minutes, but you guys just missed one of the best takes.
It was unbelievable.
Oiler takes that will never be heard. It's not documented anywhere.
Not?
By Joaquin Gage.
I've never said something so intelligent in my life, and no one can hear it. That is frustrating. That is frustrating. You know, Hernan usually, he doesn't look at me. His jaw was open listening to what I said just then. It was amazing. Yeah. It was absolutely amazing.
Apologies for that. I noticed on the Nasty Chat, people were like, hey, did you freeze? And then we saw that we weren't, we had a little internet issue there. So, Hambone says, why is Reed bald? This isn't the Reed Wilkins Show. It's EST Afternoons. Just keep it locked here. Reed Wilkins coming up 3 to 4:30, and then they'll be back 5:30 to 6. In between there, 5:30 to 5:30, it will be the Oil Stream pregame show. Tom Gazzola, Matt Cassian, and myself, and then we're all gonna watch the game here like a nice big family. And hope for an Oilers win, because I don't think I can handle another loss in the postgame show.
Yeah, you need something good to happen to you.
Yeah. So hour 2, Derek Van Diest, 2:20. We're also going to have the EST Flyaway to LA, which is proudly presented by the 780. Just some Oiler news ahead of tonight's game. No Arvidsson again, Gager. Trying to wonder what the hell is going on here.
Little disturbing.
Yeah, Oilers will go 11-7. Josh Brown, the much anticipated debut of Josh Brown.
I hear he's going to fight Tyson.
Well, I saw him licking on a guy over the weekend. Holy smokes! That
was bad.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see him because he struggled mightily in the preseason.
And the Canadiens are kind of water bugs too.
Yeah,
right? There's
exactly.
a lot of speed down low. I remember, I think Darnay, one of his first games was against, and when he first came to Edmonton, and he struggled with the spins. He got a lot better at it, but
and Darnay struggling in Vancouver. He's in and out of that lineup. Talkett's not a fan. I'll tell you that much.
No.
Calvin Pickard gets the start, which is not surprising because Skinner will go tomorrow. RNH plays his 900th NHL game. Little Nuge. It'd be a good time for Nuge to step up here and pot a few goals or just show up. And Nurse likely out 5 to 10 days. I mean, I think that's best case scenario there. Reevaluate him after and see where he's at. Because you'll play these 4 games and then you get, I think, a nice break. So why rush him, right? I mean, if you're 0-3 going into Saturday.
I don't know. We'll see how this looks tonight. Can't he wear just the Gazoo helmet thing like the football players wear?
Don't hit him.
Wear a yellow jersey. It'll be fine.
What are they called again? I know what you're talking about. Yeah. The football gear. What you think?
The Guardian?
The Guardian cap.
The Guardian cap.
Yeah, why
Get
not?
Nurse a Guardian cap.
Why not? All right, we're going to take a quick break here on the other side of the break. Zach, are we going to stay on this link here, or are we switching back to EST? What are we doing?
It's the same one.
Okay, so we'll stay on the Reed Wilkins Show for now. Link. Zach's doing some great work back there. Sorry about that, everyone. We did cut out there for a few minutes. But coming up in the second hour, we'll continue the Oilers talk, the Grey Cup talk, the NFL talk, the fight talk, and Derek Van Diest from NHL.com, as well as another qualifier for the EST Flyaway to LA. That's all coming up next here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Joaquin Gage, Hernan Salas, EST Afternoons.
Celebrating 70 years in the signage industry, William Huff Advertising is the most recognized name in the game. An in-house, one-stop shop for all of your design, print, and installation needs. William Huff provides quality graphic solutions for everyone. Here in our City of Champions and throughout the nation, they're the preferred signage partner entrusted by many of the biggest corporations, pro sports teams, and organizations to bring their identity to life. Recognize the name, get in the game. WilliamHuff.com.
Looking for a winning strategy for your retirement? Contact me, Joaquin Gage at K4 Financial, where expertise meets dedication. I will always look for a careful approach to your retirement, ensuring your financial future is secure. From tailored strategies to clear, actionable advice, I'm here to guide you every step of the way. Don't leave your future to chance. Get in touch with me, Joaquin Gage, today at k4financial.ca or email joaquin.gage@k4financial.ca to start planning for a brighter future and a more secure retirement.
Edmonton Sports Talk delivers a mass audience of key, influential customers to your business, all while you associate your company brand with the biggest names, the hottest sports news, and teams from every league around the globe. It's where fans go to get their sports fix and where our partners find the most loyal consumers. Contact us today and see how our team on Edmonton Sports Talk can score the biggest goals for your business. With various advertising options available, email business@edmontonsportstalk.com or head to our website, edmontonsportstalk.com.
The Oilers will be without Darnell Nurse for 5 to 10 days as he took a hit in Saturday night's game, Xing that one. It's the Oilers back on the ice tonight as they face the Montreal Canadiens. Get set for the game on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas at 4:30, only on Edmonton Sports Talk. And around the league, we have the Bruins and Blue Jackets opening the night before the Hockey Club battles the Capitals, and the San Jose Sharks host the Detroit Red Wings in the Shark Tank. Down south, Daniel Jones hits the bench this week with Tommy DeVito being named the starter for the Giants. Monday Night Football has the Texans and Cowboys kicking off, where you can join Lieutenant Eric at the Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge for the action. The NBA has the Raptors tipping off against the Pacers for 8 games in the association. EST Afternoons with Hernan Salas and Joaquin Gage continues right now. I'm Zachary Kubusch, keeping you in the loop.
Hour 2 here on EST Afternoons. Joaquin Gage, Hernan Salas, Zachticum. New stream, as we had a little hiccup there.
You're not supposed to cross the streams, but we did.
We did. So the thumbs up are going to be all messed up now. We won't know what.
Don't worry. Just enjoy the show, everybody. It's Monday. Get ready for I think, an exciting.
Can you tell everybody what you were telling me before we went on off air?
I really don't remember what I was saying.
What were we? Oh, we were talking about the power play and the lack of urgency on the 5 minutes.
Oh, that. God. I can't repeat that. That was okay. So what I was discussing, I was taking some of my personal experience with 5-minute majors, and on both sides of it. So I did have one of my coaches at one point. Because there is a tendency when you see that big 5-minute up there on the clock going out there as the power plays, you have time. My coach had said that treat that as you only have 1 minute.
Yeah.
So there is some urgency to do something because it's a huge number. And I think I mentioned how on a lot of those 5-minute majors, it seemed like I was handling the puck more than the guys on the power plays because they kick the puck getting shot down the ice. So. But I also said that both PK units for the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Edmonton Oilers were rock solid.
Yeah.
Last game. So sometimes you got to tip your cap to the PK unit. But look, I think that in that situation, the Oilers needed to score a goal. You need to get one goal on those things, or else it's a complete catastrophe. You're just giving way too much juice to the other team, because you said it. You said after that 5-on-3, the Oilers gained some momentum back from that huge kill.
And that's the thing, right? So let's move. I don't want to spend too much time on it. It was 2 nights ago. Like, it's time to move on. But the Evan Bouchard plays Gager. And listen, I get the analytics are showing that he's playing really well, and the Oilers' defense is really playing well. And it's not it is matching the eye test in certain areas, but there's moments in the game when it doesn't. And the clear one was the horrible play by Evan Bouchard behind the net. And it's funny because Craig Simonson at the time, he goes, what a play by Bouchard, not panicking. He turns around, and then he just, a horrible pass. Like, never make that pass. And I get he's an offensive guy. I get he always wants to make a pass instead of off the glass and out. But read the situation in the game, where you're at. You're without Darnell Nurse. And I thought it was just a horrible play. And he was upset. You saw it. And the coach kept throwing him back out there. And then for me, the big problem I have is, listen, Bobby McCann, no one was catching him. He was shot out of a cannon. Okay? But look at the effort between Ekholm and Bouchard. Bouchard was awful. That was embarrassing, the effort he gave.
There was nothing right away. Then there were a few hard strides, and then hope that you either Ekholm does it or Skinner makes the save. And you could see Ekholm kind of, when he went into the corner, he was like, what just happened there? Like I'm sure he had a little bit of a discussion with Bouchard.
I hope so.
You hope, yeah. No, you want more. You need more. You need to play at a level where this is your last shift, that pass. Like, who does? All right, we shouldn't talk about it. It's bugging me because not at the professional level, unless, and even on that side, you wouldn't make. The only time you would make a pass like that would be on the other side because the benches are on that side. You wouldn't even be passing it over there. It would be on the far side, away from the benches, if anything, right? So, it was just there was a glitch in the Bouchard matrix for a few minutes there.
And this is Bouchard. Like, he's brilliant. Like, he's offensively, Gager, he's really good. We all know what he can do, but I think it's just something that's you're going to have to take as Oiler fan, is that he's going to have these blunders from time to time.
And he's going to have some stuff that we go, wow,
exactly.
That's amazing.
Because, and listen, I know he probably wasn't catching Bobby McCann, but you have to give an effort just in case. What if he's...
Just to give him a little...
Nudge on the leg or something.
Give McCann the thing like, oh my gosh, this guy's going to catch me. I better shoot this thing.
Exactly.
Right? Like, make him do something that he doesn't want to do. That's all you had to do. And all it would have taken was a few more strides. And who knows what happens? Maybe he dives. Maybe he hits the puck,
Try it.
Yeah.
Like, and because they showed the angle, like, kind of from where Skinner was.
Yeah.
Like, Skinner looking at that play, and he doesn't take a stride from the blue line. He just coasts, and then he thinks the puck hit the post. He grabs the puck, and he takes off.
Well, that's the thing. Like, he all of a sudden the motor got going. Maybe it was just he didn't pull the choke out, and then he finally got it going. It was terrible. It was a horrible look looking at that when he starts high stepping it back the other way.
Terrible, Gager. It was. So let's move on from Bouchard. He needs to. I'll be honest. For tonight, this guy better play out of his mind, because listen, I know Tommy and I were talking about, like, we were a little upset because Chris Knobloch called the play for the second goal against unfortunate. That's not unfortunate. That's a bonehead play. It's unfortunate it went off McDavid, but that pass had no hope. Just look at where's it going.
It is unfortunate. It's brutally unfortunate.
Yeah, like, and just the players, like, no one really addressing it. And again, we're not, like, I know, Joaquin, you played in the league.
You don't know if there's some address
internal.
Yeah,
but like you said, I hope Ekholm's like, bro, what are you doing? Like, seriously, like, just,
I mean, you could kind of see on Bouchard's face that he knew he did something stupid. Like, like, it's not like he just didn't. He shrugged it off.
But that's what I mean. You go do something stupid, and then that's the effort you give. Like,
you would think that would have lit a fire.
Yeah.
And I wonder, because with the injury to Nurse, all of a sudden, Bouchard's playing in a lot more situations, that he normally wouldn't play in. And what happens when you get fatigued? You start making mental mistakes. And maybe that was the case.
Okay, let's move on. Stuart Skinner took a lot of heat, Gager, on the postgame show.
Did he?
And I think there's some Oilers fans that are a little unrealistic. Like, he's not going to get a shutout every game, okay? But the problem with Stuart Skinner, and I agree wholeheartedly with all the fans out there and some media, it's the timely saves that the Oilers are not getting. He's not giving them one timely save.
There's been a couple games where he has. It's been the ability to take goals away from the other team has not been as consistent as you would like from your number one goalie who, when you get down to the nitty-gritty of everything, that's where you want to save, right? And looking at the goals, The first Nye's goal, great shot. It's a bang play. So is the first one too. But you hope maybe he gets a piece of that. I thought the breakaway was there wasn't just Bouchard on that. Stuart Skinner made a horrible read on that as well.
Again.
Yeah.
Because remember the Islander first goal?
Yeah. He didn't judge the speed right. And you gotta, as a goalie, you kind of. I always thought that if you can take away the shot, like if a guy comes down and thinks he can beat you with a shot, you're just not in good enough position. If he looks up and sees no net, then he's going to kind of try to go around you, and that's where you can kind of move to one side and lower his percentage of how much net he's going to actually see. Bobby McCann just went right around him. There was just no movement from Stuart Skinner going backwards. Same kind of thing with the Islanders. Pieri, who scored?
Palmieri. When the Russian kid kind of faked like he was going to shoot.
And then Stu started his backwards momentum, but he just didn't get a good enough push. And I said, Stuart Skinner's he's an elite goaltender. Don't get me wrong, but his skating is not elite compared to, I remember I went to a Montreal Canadiens skate back in Rexall, and Carey Price went out there and just did some movement just to start. It was beautiful. It was like walking through the Louvre looking at paintings. This guy was an artist, the way he moved it. He looked like a panther. Or you know what? I'd compare him, if you go watch Roger Federer run around the tennis court, it was effortless the way he covered everything. And he's a big dude too. It was gorgeous. He probably looked over at me and said, "Who's this psychopath looking at me with his jaw open?" But Stuart Skinner just doesn't have the same skating ability as some of the best goalies in the NHL.
Yeah, and I get it, and I get the frustration, and I get the numbers are not sexy. I get it all. And does he have to be better? 100%. And you want that timely save. Like, it could be the second goal against when Bouchard makes, because that's what goalies do. They bail out their defensemen at times or their forwards. I didn't like the overtime goal either.
Good shot by Marner. Skinner was playing the pass, and it's the reason why he was probably back in the net is because on those two instances that we just mentioned that he wasn't in good enough position, so he's compensating all right. So Stu Skinner has to get down to work with Dustin Schwartz.
Don't say that name on here.
Look, he's fixed a lot of things. These are the types of things that you have your goalie coach for, right? Recognizing some deficiencies in the game with proper reads. This is where you start developing drills. Hopefully they can even implement some of those it's hard to do in practice, but try to develop a drill in practice where you can mimic these types of plays and start getting that timing back. And it's tough to get your timing and get it in that right window, but get that timing back, get that good push, going backwards, tracking the puck back to the post.
Yeah, and that's why I think tonight's a big game, because I think Skinner's confidence is a little bit shot too. I think he's hearing the noise, the outside noise. I think he's feeling it in the game because you're seeing the frustration, Gager. And when a goalie's kind of showing that, it's getting to him for sure. So I think tonight they have to win, because tomorrow I don't know what to expect, because Ottawa's kind of up and down, but Ottawa always plays the Oilers well. They're feisty, and they're not going to...
So are the Canadiens.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. 100%. Okay, the next topic I want to get to is Podkolzin, Jeff Skinner. Jeff Skinner is the 10th, 11th guy today. He's not in the top three lines. They've got him slated in the fourth line, which is shorthanded. So they're all going to play because it's 11 forwards. Yeah. But listen, and I know Knobloch talked about Podkolzin today, like everything he does well, but you don't produce. He's played 18 games. How many of those games has he played with Draisaitl? 8 at least? He has 3 points, and he's a minus player. And yes, penalty killer. Yes, he retrieves pucks. Yes, he's physical. But eventually, you got to score if you're playing with Leon Draisaitl. Everyone here dogged on Yamamoto because he wouldn't score with Draisaitl. How many other players that couldn't score with Draisaitl, fans were all over? But Podkolzin, why?
Well, especially with the chances that he's been able to be on the receiving end of and not cashing in from Draisaitl, right? Like
That's what I mean.
Yeah, like he's got to. There's just, it's so weird that that's the one part. It's probably the most important part, but he does so many other things well, But he's just not a finisher. He's just not a finisher. But the way he can retrieve pucks, like you said, his passing ability, I think, is underrated a little bit. Like his ability to get pucks and get them to Leon.
He's got some offensive jam.
Yeah. And I mean, even I believe it was one of the games where he had it and he cut to the middle and just shot it real quick. He's not confident either, right? Like in a lot of cases, he probably could have just delayed and took another few steps and opened up an angle for himself. But he's just trying to, at least get the puck on net. But you're going to need to see something from him. And saying that, if he does get moved to a different line and say Jeff Skinner does get injected into that position, Skinner's got to do something. Like he's got to figure out how to play with Leon and be successful. And he's come from a place where he's been counted on to, be the offensive contributor, I would say, for the most part. But now he's playing with a guy that commands the puck, probably has the puck on his stick a lot more than you will have.
Yeah.
He's got to prepare himself and get him into good situations where he can receive the puck, and he's a shooter too. So he's got to find those areas where Leon wants to get guys pucks too.
But this is the issue I have, and it's just so many. Like I even think of a McLeod when he was getting looks with Draisaitl and Fogle, and people were up in arms when they weren't producing. And it's like, what's the difference? Like, don't get me wrong, Podkolzin, yes, he does a lot of things right, Gage. It's just for me, Jeff Skinner was really good when the Oilers were struggling at the start of the season. He was one of their better forwards.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, he was.
And now he's kind of falling out of favor. But you brought in Jeff Skinner for one reason, to score goals. And on the fourth line, guess what? He's not going to score goals on the fourth line.
No.
He's not. I just want to, would you make that switch, Gage, or put Podkolzin with Skinner?
I don't know if I do it tonight. I would, if I'm looking at that lineup, where I think Perry becomes the guy that gets moved around throughout the game in that situation. See how it goes at start. Who knows? Maybe the game starts with Leon, Podkolzin, and Skinner. Right? Like just because of what we saw in morning skate doesn't mean that's what we're going to see when the puck drops, right? So I think there's a really good chance that we probably see Skinner with Leon tonight to start the game at least. So if there's any game to kind of break out of your slump, it'd be against the 30th place team in the league.
And great point. I just think it's more important for the Oilers to get Jeff Skinner going than Podkolzin. That's just me.
Well, Podkolzin is going. That's the thing.
But eventually, who's going to be more important for this team?
Well, this is kind of, if you get to the situation in the last two games of the season in the Stanley Cup Finals and your two big guys aren't producing, that's where you want that secondary scoring.
That's why you brought him in.
That's why you brought him in.
Yeah. And a good point here sorry, we got a bunch of messages coming in, but someone sent it in, I think on the Nasty chat, saying Montreal's 30th place team in the NHL. The Oilers should not struggle with this team, Gage. I know the other guys on the other team have pride and there's a lot of talent, but the Oilers are a Stanley Cup contender. They can't be 2-2 late in the third period.
Yeah, and did I say it on this show or the show before? I could take away the will.
Yeah.
Right? Let's get, you want Montreal to start thinking about the next game, right?
Yeah, and it's the two goalies for Team Canada, Skinner's not playing tonight, damn it. Joke ruined. I just wanted to get people fired up on Stuart Skinner.
Oh, my gosh.
Because a lot of people are not happy with him right now, Gager.
Well, if Stuart, I know you're listening, just realize, although people are all over you, there's also those people are wanting you to become the best goalie in the league also. So tell yourself that.
Yeah, no, for sure. So we're going to combine the likes, Gager. We're at 85.
Look at that.
Look at that. 15 more.
Look at
and we'll
us.
hit 100. We're combining the two shows because we had a little glitch, internet outage for 2 minutes.
Just like Bouchard, a little bit of a glitch.
A little bit of a glitch. Coming up next, we'll talk all things Oilers with our guy Derek Van Diest from NHL.com here on EST Afternoons. It's Joaquin Gage. It's Hernan Salas. But right now, here's a sports update with Zach, the producer.
After taking a heavy blow to the head and exiting Saturday's game, Darnell Nurse is expected to miss 5 to 10 days for the Edmonton Oilers. And they're back in action tonight against the Habs for a first of a back-to-back. Tune into the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show an hour before puck drop to get you set for the game with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas, only on Edmonton Sports Talk. Elsewhere, it's the Avalanche and Flyers, the Caps with puck drop against the Hockey Club, and the Bruins facing the Blue Jackets. In the NFL, the Giants will bench Daniel Jones this week in favor of Tommy DeVito when New York takes on Tampa Bay. For Monday Night Football, the Texans kick off with the Cowboys, with Lieutenant Eric hanging out at the Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge for the game. That one goes at 6:15. Also on tap, the NBA has 8 games, with the Raptors hitting the court with the Pacers. Just after the break, Derek Van Diest from NHL.com joins Hernan Salas and Joaquin Gage. I'm Zachary Kubusch, keeping you up to date.
Ready for an unforgettable sports experience? It's the EST Flyaway to LA. Presented by the 780. Listen daily for the EST Flyaway keyword. Once you hear it, text us at 780-218-9999 for your chance to qualify to fly to LA. Round trip flights for 2, hotel and car rentals, all to go see Edmonton face off against either LA or Anaheim. Plus, experience the brand new Intuit Dome as the Clippers tip off against the Warriors, and top it all off with the Rams kicking off against the Cardinals at SoFi Stadium. This is more than just a trip. This is the ultimate sports experience. The EST Flyaway to LA, presented by the 780 and Edmonton Sports Talk. Your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
Book your holiday party at the CBH today. The Canadian Brewhouse is your ultimate destination for events, parties, fundraisers, and more. 'Tis the season to celebrate. Visit and book now in-store or at the Canadian.
Celebrating 70 years in the signage industry, William Huff Advertising is the most recognized name in the game. An in-house, one-stop shop for all of your design, print, and installation needs. William Huff provides quality graphic solutions for everyone. Here in our City of Champions and throughout the nation, they are the preferred signage partner entrusted by many of the biggest corporations, pro sports teams, and organizations to bring their identity to life. Recognize the name, get in the game. WilliamHuff.com.
It's 2:25. Welcome back to EST Afternoons. If you're looking for the first hour, they're going to be split today just due to we had technical difficulties for about a couple of minutes, but we had to jump onto another stream. So if you want to watch us, it'll be 2 different ones. Zach's done a great job marking them up, so easy to find. Hour 1, Brian Wilde from Global Montreal previewed the Habs. It was a great conversation. We just finished talking Oilers from Saturday night. And we'll continue to look ahead to tonight's game as we're ready to go with DVD. Yeah. So we bring in Derek Van Diest from NHL.com. Derek, DVD, how you doing, my friend?
Good. How are you guys doing today?
Good. First question before we get to hockey. Did you watch Mike Tyson fight?
Unfortunately, I did. You know what? I was out having a drink with a friend, and they were showing the fight. I didn't go to the bar to specifically see the fight.
Okay.
But they were showing it, and I was surprised it was on so late. I thought it was going to be earlier in the day, and it was the farce that I thought it was going to be. Like, it was just like, it was, 26, 27-year-old guy beating up a 60-year-old man like that. It was sad. It got sad after like 2 rounds. You're like, ooh, this is not good. This is
cringy.
This is something that should have happened. And there's, I was a Mike Tyson fan back in the day, but what's the saying? Time catches up to all of us. Whatever time, Father Time is undefeated. It happens, man. It happens. It's just it's yeah. So it was a bit of a farce, and I think two rounds in, where people realized what it was.
Yeah, I'm not going to ask you about the Chilean national team. We'll skip that question. We'll
I
talk
saw
about that
game
over
too,
beers.
yeah.
So did I. It was
good.
terrible.
That was terrible. All my teams are terrible now.
And then your Cowboys play tonight.
Philly's terrible. Yeah. Gonna get me more upset.
DVD. We just finished recapping kind of Saturday what went down, and we were talking about on the post game show, and a lot of fans, as you can see on the X machine, and not happy with Stuart Skinner, and it's not so much where I think a lot of people are unrealistic. They expect him to have a shutout every game, but everybody's bringing up the timely save, that Stuart Skinner doesn't give his team the timely save more often than not. Where do you stand on Stuart Skinner's season so far?
Well, his save percentage is below. Last time I looked, it was below 9. So every time your save percentage is below 9, it's not good. I tend to kind of agree with that to a point. Like the mistakes the Oilers are making are just so bad. Like they're so. I didn't think he had a chance on that third goal. The one, like, it was played so poorly off the bank, off the boards, and then suddenly a guy goes on a breakaway. Obviously, the Bouchard turnover. Nobody knows where he was going with that puck. That's a bad turnover. Like, your good goalies bail you out, but when you're making 5 alarm mistakes, when you're making mistakes that are just so bad, and then your goalie doesn't bail you out. Then there's going to be some, but there's going to be some pushback to that. I thought Stuart Skinner, after his slow start, was kind of finding his game. He's kind of finding his groove, but he needs a little bit all in front of him. Like, you can't make those terrible, terrible mistakes, and that's what they're doing right now. And he's not bailing them out. He's not making that big save and bailing out. And what they say is, goaltending can mask a lot of your deficiencies. Yeah. And right now it's not masking the deficiencies. So they blame the goaltending for all the other deficiencies in the Oilers game right now. And there's a lot of them, especially on the back end. They got to clean those up. And I think if you ask Stuart Skinner, he's got to be better himself. He knows that. He knows he has to be better. But the guys have to be better in front of him. He can't be an excuse that, the goalie didn't bail us out this time. Mm-hmm. Yes, and granted, great goalies do bail you out. But you got to clean up your game. You can't keep playing that way. You can't keep blowing leads in the third period. If you have a lead in the third period, championship team's got to be able to shut that down. And right now, the Oilers are not doing that.
DVD, you mentioned that goalies can mask a lot of the problems. I do it on a regular basis here with Hernan. But is that it, like, being so in the infancy of this season? Do you think that's a good thing that the Oilers? Because I mean, if Stuart Skinner's covering up all these bad plays with great goaltending, does now as a coaching staff, do you think does that help them realize where they really need to focus with this team? Just because of the goaltending hasn't been like top tier caliber as of yet.
Yeah, I think it helps the coaches, but I think it helps the players a bit more too, because players, to me, from what I've dealt with them, is if they just want to win or lose, right? If they win the game, they lose the game. It's not their job to break down the wins and the losses. So if your goalie's coming out here and standing on his head and making all the mistakes, I think you don't look at those mistakes that you made as much as you would if your goalie doesn't bail you out and make those mistakes. So I get your point here, and I think you're right. I think the players are going to realize, hey, man, we got to clean up our game. Like, we can't throw this guy to the wolves. There's a lot of things we got to clean up. Yeah, he's not bailing us out, which, sometimes goalies do that. The great goalies do that. But I think there's so many deficiencies in their game right now that they do have to clean up. And it's in parts. I think parts of their game are coming along. But then when you have a 1-goal lead in the third period as a championship team, that should be lights out. It should be over. But they're making such terrible mistakes to give away those goals. And this has been a theme with Edmonton for the last little while. It's the mistakes that have killed them, the mistakes that cost them the Stanley Cup last year. It's these huge mistakes that they're making, and they shouldn't be making. They should be smarter. They should be making smarter plays. And we've all grew up in third period, play the game safe, make the safe play. Don't try to make the fancy play. And that's something that they're not doing right now. So I agree with you there, Gager. Like, yes, the fact that their goalie is not bailing them out does brought these mistakes to light. And I think they have to address them, before you start pointing the finger at the goal.
Derek Van Diest from NHL.com joining us here on EST Afternoons. We were talking about two players in Vasily Podkolzin, who's played a lot with Draisaitl lately. Does a lot of things well, DVD, but he's got 3 assists, and he's a dash player. And then on the flip side, Jeff Skinner, he's kind of falling out of favor here lately with this coaching staff, playing in the bottom 6, not getting a lot of ice time. What do you make of these two players? Because we were just discussing that Jeff Skinner was brought here to score goals. He's not going to do that in the bottom 6. That's just plain and simple. And then Podkolzin is a guy who does a lot of things well. It sounds like Draisaitl loves playing with him, but eventually you got to produce here, right?
Well, eventually you got to produce. I think Draisaitl likes playing with him because Podkolzin's a guy that goes gets the puck for him in the corner. Like, this guy's relentless on the forecheck. He does a lot of good things. He's a big, strong body. He wins so many battles along the boards and in the corner. And when you're a skilled player like Draisaitl used to have to do that himself, and now that he has a guy to do it for him, he can kind of focus on other parts of his game. So I think Podkolzin does that. Yeah, I think eventually the points will come if he just keeps doing the right things, keeps getting the puck to the right guys, and then go to the front of the net. But I've liked his game. I've liked how hard he works and how much he does for those guys on that line to retrieve pucks, to get pucks, to create turnovers. I think he does a great job. On the flip side of that, I think the problem with Jeff Skinner is that he's not doing that. He's not working hard, or as hard as coaches staff would like him to do. He's a guy with an incredible amount of talent. He's struggling right now, but I think when you're demoted like that, it's usually a work-based demotion. It's like, you need to work harder. You need to put out more, not necessarily scoring-wise, but I think we've all seen in Jeff Skinner that, there is elements of his game that he could be better at, work harder at, be a little tougher in front of the net, those elements. And I think the coaching staff, this is a message to him saying, hey, you're a guy, we expect you to score 25 to 30 goals on this team this year. You have 3. We need more from you. We need more from you. We need you to work harder. We need you to get better. And it'll be interesting to see how Skinner responds to that. You'd think he'd come into the season with a chip on his shoulder, having had his contract bought out in Buffalo. You think he'd want to prove something. And talking to him this year, he did want to have something to prove. I don't think he's found his place on this team. I don't think he's found his legs. But I think part of the issue is, hey, you got to work a lot harder to maintain your status here on this group where we have a lot of really talented players.
Looking at tonight, obviously taking on the Montreal Canadiens on Prime. DVD, what do you expect from this team? Like, when you look at their lineup, the goal scorers, it's got Suzuki's got 7, Caulfield with 12, and then it just completely falls off the map. The Montreal Canadiens, from what it looks like a team that doesn't score. But what type of game what would you like to see from the Edmonton Oilers going up against the 30th place team in the league?
Well, that's always a tough building to go in and play. That's a great atmosphere, in the Bell Center. But they have to go in there and take the crowd out of the game right away. So they have to go out and play with the lead. And I think that's something that has also been a struggle. They keep chasing these games. They keep going and chasing these games. Go out, get out in front, and play with the lead, and really kind of silence that crowd. And I think Montreal, they're in a transitional phase right now. I think they wanted more out of Slafkovsky. He's not really giving them what they want. Suzuki is providing, but they're a young team that doesn't have a lot of veteran leadership there right now. And I know they have some older guys on the team like Gallagher and guys like that, but they're not getting it done. They're not helping with the transition. They rely a lot on their goaltending, and right now their goaltending hasn't been as good as it was towards the end of last season. So I think, they're not going to accept this in Montreal for too long. Like, they've been sold the rebuild thing for the last 3 or 4 years. I think something's going to give, and I hate to see that Martin St. Louis might be the first guy to go, but they have to turn this thing around. But they're a young team that kind of expected to turn the corner, but the owners can't give them life. They can't give them sense of optimism going into that building. I think they have to take it to them right away, get up a couple of goals, and really kind of lean on those young kids, because Montreal's really, really kind of trying to turn this around with a bunch of young guys that maybe are playing above themselves right now, or maybe are playing where they should be learning, as opposed to being in situations where you're expecting a lot. Or maybe not Suzuki, but maybe some of those other young guys they're pushing a little hard.
Derek, great stuff as always. Thank you for joining us today. Enjoy the game tonight, and I'm sure we'll be talking soon.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me on, guys. We appreciate it.
That's Derek Van Diest from NHL.com, my fellow Chilean media member.
Great dude. Such a good dude. I love meeting a DVD in the Wild because he's just so happy to see you. Like it's like I haven't seen him in years.
Yeah. You want to see DVD, just go to Kelly's or Tommy.
Well, that's what he said. I was at a friend out for a drink watching the fight. He could have said I'm at Kelly's with Tommy. Like we all know.
That's their favorite spot.
It's a good spot. I've never been there. I've seen pictures.
There's a pregame and postgame show heading there soon. So
I know.
You started laughing when you heard it. It was pretty funny. You were at Tommy's, I think.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God.
Hey, I want to give you some stats here.
Uh-oh. They're not mine, are they?
No. And then we'll get Zach here in the last segment so he can break down the Johns Bones Jones fight. I don't know why, because it was just as bad as the Mike Tyson. So my buddy Brian Swain, he's still a member of the media, did a lot of work for Post Media, worked with the Elks with me, and he's a stats guru. He sent me this, okay? This is after the game on Saturday. So the Oilers' last 5 games, 6 goals against in the first 2 periods combined, 9 goals against in the third period. They have blown third period lead and either gone to OT or lost in regulation in 4 of the last 5 games. Okay, Oilers in November, everybody. 9 goals against in the first 2 periods combined. 11 goals against in the third period. Oilers this season, 31 goals against in the first 2 periods combined. 24 goals against in the third period. I see a trend.
Yeah.
I can spot the problem.
Is it as simple as saying just not playing for the full 60 minutes? I mean...
Or is it like... Because we talked about this on Saturday with Cass, and we were like, this is a veteran team, but it almost seems like they get nervous in the last 10.
Well, that's going to happen when you start giving away leads all the time.
That's what it's getting worse, right?
Yeah, you've got to... They've got to just find a way to... Whether that's... Like, who did they play... I forget the game that they played at home here, and I think it was close. Like they lost a real tight game. Maybe it was the Carolina game? Carolina was blocking every shot in the third period. Like it was I think they had like 40 attempts on net, right? Those are the types of things that sometimes you have to do to win hockey games. So it's a full commitment on the other side of the puck. Like making sure that you don't need any more at this point. And there was a sense, I want to say last year around, I want to say the middle of January into February, where the way the Oilers played, and it's been the first time in a lot of years where maybe they were up 2-1 halfway through the second, and you said, Oilers are going to win this one. And they won it maybe with an empty netter. Like they played those tight, close games. Then there was just you could feel the level of confidence with these guys at that point. So again, this is something that they're going to have to learn, and a commitment going into that last 20 minutes of what it's going to take to win that hockey game, whether that's a block shot, whether that's just a puck. Maybe the sexy play is there, but the safe play is just getting it back out into the neutral zone and regrouping and going from there.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's bizarre because last year the Oilers were really good in 1-goal games. They were like the complete opposite, Gager. They could hold on. Or third.
Not at the beginning. It was a learned skill.
Yeah. It got better.
It is. Like, I don't know the stat. Like, if you were to look at the stats of teams that are able to come back after trailing in the third period to win hockey games, it's usually by the end of the season, it's really, really low. Yeah. Right? Like, teams are locking it down in that third period.
And listen, I've been hard on Darnell Nurse. I'll put my hand up. I'm not going to sit here and say...
I haven't, Darnell. I love you.
And I think a lot of it's fair. But I think tonight we're going to get our first dose of holy smokes. Do you notice that he's not there?
Oh, yeah.
Because I'll tell you right now, if you're expecting a lot from Josh Brown, just don't. But no, but I don't mean that don't expect like a outlet pass, like, for a breakaway. Don't expect, any offense. I mean, he will bring physicality.
Hope so.
Yeah, he's probably not going to play much. He's going to be in that 6 to 8 minute range. But I'm just saying, don't get your hopes up for a guy that couldn't be here to start the season, Gager, and he's playing on the third pair in Bakersfield. And the reason he's the call-up is because he has NHL experience. There's no one else down there that can come up and play.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it's the same with any team. You take out a regular NHL defenseman from your lineup, it is really noticeable. So I think it might be a little bit refreshing for a lot of people who are quite hard on Darnell Nurse.
That's me included.
Yeah, we all are. We all are. We have high expectations, and I think that's fine to have, because what does he do? He goes out and proves it sometimes. Like that game against the Preds, Darnell Nurse, if everyone said it, if Connor doesn't get 1,000 points, Darnell Nurse is first star. Like that's the type of game that he's capable of. It's just everyone wants more and more of it.
Watch Josh Brown come on and score tonight. It'd be great. Listen, I want him to do well because I want the Oilers to do well, obviously. But I'm just saying, I saw a bunch of people yesterday pretty excited about this, and I was just lower the expectation, and then, if he does well, then you're pleasantly surprised and you're not disappointed. We got to get to the keyword for the EST flyaway to LA, which is presented by the 780. The 780 is a homegrown local shop right here in Edmonton. 780 is both the shop name and their in-house clothing brand that celebrates all things unique to E-Town. They also work with close to 100 local vendors from the 780 area code to help promote and get their brands off the ground. Check them out online at 780.com or at any of their 5 locations at Southgate, Londonderry, Kingsway, St. Albert, and the Outlet Mall by the airport. Get your phones out. Text 780-218-9999. Today's keyword is, what's your guess, Gager?
Brown.
Think Spicoli.
Mr. Hand. If you're here and I'm here, isn't it our time?
I like when he just looks at him and he's just sitting up there.
Yeah, it's got the buttoned up.
Oh, such a classic. No, but surf. Surf is the key word today. Text that in to 780-218-9999. SURF. And Zachticum will pick a qualifier coming up next. We'll close out the show, continue the Oilers talk. We'll get a UFC recap from our guy Zach as well. That's all coming up here on EST Afternoons on Edmonton Sports Talk. Joaquin Gage, Hernan Salas. But first up, here's Zach with an update.
Darnell Nurse is expected to be out 5 to 10 days for the Oilers after he took a hit to the head from Ryan Reeves Saturday. And the Oilers are back at it against the Canadiens with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas live for the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show at 4:30 right here on EST. Other games see the Ducks taking on the Sharks, Detroit in San Jose, or Ducks taking on the Stars, Detroit in San Jose to face the Sharks, and the Flyers battling the Avalanche. Football sees Tommy DeVito being named the starter for the New York Giants as they send Daniel Jones to the bench. And on tap tonight, the Cowboys will face the Texans with Lieutenant Eric down at the Century Casino Sports Barn Lounge for a 6:15 start. Basketball has the Raptors meeting the Pacers for 8 games in the NBA. On the other side of the break, it's the final segment of EST Afternoons. I'm Zachary Kubusch, keeping you in the loop.
You want the heavy hitters on your team, both on and off the ice. If you've been injured in a car accident, call the heavy hitters of injury law. James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers. With over 200 years of combined injury law experience, their precedent-setting lawyers are ready to help. Locally owned and proud Edmonton Oilers fans, James H. Brown and Associates wants to support you with their unrivaled experience, unrivaled results, and unrivaled commitment. When accidents happen, head to jameshbrown.com.
780 is just another lame-ass, low-budget local shop. Homegrown right here in Edmonton. 780 is both the shop name and their in-house clothing brand that celebrates all things unique to E-Town. They also work with close to 1,000 local vendors from the 780 to help promote and get their brands off the ground. Check them out online at 780.com or at any of their 5 locations at Southgate, Londonderry, Kingsway, St. Albert, and the Outlet Mall by the airport.
Looking for a winning strategy for your retirement? Contact me, Joaquin Gage at K4 Financial, where expertise meets dedication. I will always look for a careful approach to your retirement, ensuring your financial future is secure. From tailored strategies to clear, actionable advice, I'm here to guide you every step of the way. Don't leave your future to chance. Get in touch with me, Joaquin Gage, today at k4financial.ca or email joaquin.gage@k4financial.ca to start planning for a brighter future and a more secure retirement.
It's 2:47, last segment here on EST Afternoons on this sunny Monday afternoon. Oilers game day is there in Montreal to take on the Habs, 5:30. It's an Amazon game. Oil Stream pregame show will cut into the Reed Wilkins show. Reed will be on from 3 to 4:30. Oil Stream pregame show, 4:30 to 5:30. Then Reed and Jay will jump back on for the last half hour. And, of course, we'll come back right after the game with the Oil Stream post-game show. Zach's working on our next qualifier for the EST flyaway to LA. If you want to watch some Monday Night Football, Houston Texans at the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys yet to win at home. They've been absolutely trounced in Dallas. So if you're a betting man, take the Texans. If you want to hang out with Lieutenant Eric, he'll be down at the Century Casino, Fort Road for
If you're a
Monday
betting
Night
man, you
Football.
take the Cowboys, man.
No, they're not winning. Come on. There is no way. What is your prediction for the Oilers game tonight? You know what? At first, I was starting a little down on the team, but I think they're going to win. I'm looking at this Montreal team, and like you said, it's not very sexy. Kind of falls off after Caulfield, Suzuki, even though Gallagher's got 7 goals. But and Brian Wilde said it, like Jake Evans on the second line. Jake Evans not a second line player.
No.
So very, very young defense. I am intrigued to see Lane Hudson. I've just following Montreal media. I guess this kid's just making play after play, looking really good.
That stat from Brian at the beginning, just after the first 5 games of the season, the only person that had the puck more on their stick was Cale Makar. That's
crazy.
impressive, dude.
Yeah, that's really good. Really, really good. Are you down on Evan Bouchard, or do you think he's going to be fine? Are you down on Stuart Skinner, or do you think he'll be fine? I think both will be fine, Gager. I think they really got to elevate their game, and it's go time. It's November 18th. We're no longer a month in. It's let's go here. The Oilers need to start getting some wins together. They haven't been able to put a large winning streak together just yet. I think it's at 3 games is their biggest one. They're back at it tomorrow, so you need to bank points tonight, Gager. If not, I think you're going to be in a little bit of trouble. And then you get the Minnesota Wild, who always play the Oilers tough. They have their number, and they're playing really well. And then they get the another one of the better teams out east in the New York Rangers Saturday, Gager. So tonight has to be 2 points.
Yeah, no. It's when the beginning of the road trip, you take stock in it. Looking at it, your toughest game was the Toronto Maple Leafs. You had 2 in your pocket, 1 fell out. But look, this is a team when you circle it. This is the 2-point game. Yeah. You know, this is where there's no excuse. There is no way that if the Oilers bring the intensity and that's needed to win a hockey game, that the Montreal Canadiens can unless there's some superhuman goaltending effort from Montembeault, and we've seen that. He's capable of it.
We've seen it, yes.
So take the safeties off, I think. Don't try to pass it in the back of the net.
Yeah.
Look for some garbage.
Simplify.
It's garbage day for goals for the Edmonton Oilers. Time to go collect.
Yeah, I like that. I really do.
I just made that up.
97 thumbs up combined. We're only 3 away. Come on. Let's hit 100. Zach, do we have our qualifier?
We do. Pizza Boy.
Pizza Boy. What's going on, Pizza Boy? How you doing today?
I'm awesome. How are you doing?
We're doing excellent. Congratulations on qualifying for the EST Flyway to LA. If you win this trip to LA, who would you be taking with you?
I got to take the wife.
The wife. Have you ever been to Los Angeles?
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay, so this would be quite the trip for you guys. You would watch Clippers, Warriors, Rams, Cardinals, and the Edmonton hockey team in LA or Anaheim. Of the three leagues, which one would excite you the most?
Oilers all the way, for sure.
Yeah. Are you a big NBA, NFL guy, or?
Not really. I would definitely go. I would like to go see the Intuit Dome would be cool to see. But I would definitely be excited for all three. But no, Oilers are definitely my first priority.
If you get to the Intuit Dome and you manage to get on the big screen, what do? Do you pound the beer? Do you kiss the wife? What's your modus operandi when that happens?
Well, I'm not a beer drinker, but I'd probably have to. Dusty might still be sick in December, so I might have to. Some sort of get well soon, Dusty. Some sort of tribute.
Love it.
Yeah,
love it.
Pizza Boy, if you win this trip, it's a flight for two to LA, hotel and rental car. You would leave on Boxing Day, and return on the 30th. November 29th, during the morning show, we will give this trip away. You can qualify up until November 28th. All the best, my man, and hopefully your name is called on November 29th.
Thank you, guys.
All right, that's Pizza Boy. Next
Pizza
qualifier.
Boy.
It's the Pizza Boy.
Let me ask you a question.
Hold your thought. EST Flyweight to LA, proudly presented by the 780. Check them out online, 780.com, or at any of their 5 locations: Southgate, Londonderry, Kingsway, St. Albert, or the Outlet Mall by the airport. Question.
Who does Max Verstappen win his 4th Drivers' Championship this weekend?
Where are they?
Vegas, baby.
Ooh. Who won last year? Verstappen?
No, I think Carlos Sainz won.
Okay. I hope not, because I don't like Max Verstappen.
If he does, he can win. I think he can. Okay.
Is that your pick?
Just after the last one, I think he'll look to get it done here, and then he can coast.
Nice.
Into the desert. Why not?
And then after this, how many races?
There's 3 left.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, tough times for Gager.
It comes back quick though.
Yeah, February.
So I love F1 how it ends at the end of the year because I got Christmas, right? And then you got hockey, you got NFL,
Super Bowl,
Australian Opens coming up.
Yeah.
Like you got a lot of things, and before you know it, there's talk about testing, and then I do a deep dive into I get really antsy around March, but then it starts up again. So
yeah. Matt Hyman says, is Gager hitting the track after the show? Zach, get in here. Big UFC fight, I guess. John Bones Jones defeats Miocic.
Yeah, I guess.
Stipe Miocic, and it was quite the knockout.
It looked like he stole something from a convenience store, and John Jones just kind of smacked him.
Holy, like a reverse kick to the gut. And down he went. A lot of people were mocking this, and it was media, Zachticum, that I follow, and they were like, John Bones Jones should beat this guy. It was kind of that.
That was the expectation. It was basically, like you said earlier, like the Jake Paul fight and Mike Tyson fight.
I was kidding.
And that was the memes on Twitter that I saw, and I fully agreed with it. I wasn't really excited for that fight.
Yeah.
I mean, it happened. It should have happened years ago or a few years ago, but Jones got injured. Buddy was 42. Stipe Miocic, 42. He served a 24-hour shift as a firefighter because that's what he does outside of the ring. He doesn't get paid enough or whatever, so he's got to be a firefighter.
Like the day before? What?
Oh, no, the week leading up to it. But
really?
Still, rather than training, he was, doing his job, and I think he just did it really for the cash. He wanted to win the belt. You want to go win the heavyweight belt, but Jones, it was destined for Jones' victory, and I think the UFC should have made a different matchup for that one. But the co-main event was really the fight of the night, sort of like the card the night before with the Jake Paul fight. That co-main event was definitely the one that made up for it. And if I turned the TV off, I would have been good.
Quick question for you. There's this guy that wants to fight John Bones Jones.
Tom Aspinall.
And why doesn't Jones want to fight him?
Because Jones is in a position where he's known as the greatest of all time.
Okay.
Dana White he's basically Dana White's daddy. He could do whatever he wants with the promotion because he's the guy, face of the franchise, I guess. There's no Conor McGregor, so Dana White thinks he could do, Jones could do anything and he should really give it to him. But the reason he doesn't want to fight him is because he lists him as an up-and-comer. He doesn't think he's a contender. Even though he won the heavyweight interim gold, defended it, and is now just sitting there and waiting
Is he a good fighter,
to fight Jones. He's a great fighter.
Okay.
I think he'll beat John Jones
Is
when
that like
they
the
fight.
Intercontinental Championship?
No,
I'm kidding.
I'm not sure, but it's not real. You're not looked at it as a real champion.
Let me ask you this: the spinning back kick. I remember seeing someone say like Joe Rogan has a really good spinning back.
Yeah, he
kick.
does.
Yeah, he does. He
he practices martial arts. He is black belt in jiu-jitsu. But if you see some of his kicks, if you search it up online, it hurts just to watch. Man, he like shreds body bags almost. It looks like.
Watch Jones's kick and hit that body slow mo. Like, no
really?
wonder he went down.
Oh, okay.
Right to the ribs.
Yeah.
Because that was, I remember, I think it was, wasn't it Jean-Claude Van, or whatever, GSP, Jean-Claude Van Damme. He said he needed to work on his spinning back kick, and he actually asked Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan did it, and he was kind of pointing out how to do it properly.
Honestly, I'm not sure about that, but that's the only kick that I would give Joe Rogan. Like if he ever fought, he would be.
He's a tiny dude, though. Hey,
yeah, he's like 5'5". He's just pure muscle, though. Like you see him, he's just like a thumb walking around.
Should have been a running back.
Yeah, he could have been.
That's crazy. Yeah, it was fun. We were out for a birthday. My buddy had it on his phone. So
Oh,
we were
really?
just kind of watching it. Yeah. Portions of this hour brought to you by the Canadian Brew House. NHL lives at the Canadian Brew House. Every Oilers game day, get $1 off tankards of Molson Canadian and Coors Light. You can win game tickets and 2 tickets to Surf and Turf dinner at the end of the season. Full details at thecanadianbrewhouse.com. We got to get out of here. Coming up next, it is the Reed Wilkins Show with Jay Milne. Of course, at 4:30, we'll transition into the All Stream pregame show and then back to the Reed Wilkins Show for the final half hour, 5:30 to 6. Big shout out to Brian Wilde and Derek Van Diest for joining us today. Tomorrow, another fun show. Recap the Oilers, tee up another game gager. And during the week, we'll probably get an F1 guest as well. For Joaquin Gage and Zachticum, I'm Hernan Salas. This has been EST Afternoons. Enjoy the game tonight. We'll chat tomorrow. Ciao.